in the house, Julian Placino, and Foster Williams, the job problem. Career search at City Work. Career search at City Work. Come on, man. Y'all make it. Give us your comments on LinkedIn Live. Jake Melton in the house. Hello. Tell us, Foster, what's it about?
Who? Yeah, no.
All right. Welcome to the Who You Know Job Networking Show, where what you know is important,
but
who you know can make
all the difference.
All the difference in your job search.
It will, you guys. It will.
So my name's Trevor Houston. I am the host and the producer today. I'm producing this whole stream.
Ooh,
this is Who You Know Studios.
Who you know?
Who You Know Studios.
Who y'all know?
Who do y'all know? And we've got, of course, it wouldn't be a show without our co-host here. We got Foster Williams in the house. Oh. Foster, say hello to camera number 2.
Camera number 2. Hello, camera number 2.
Hey, what's going on?
What's happening? It's a whole lot of cameras. Let me see which one.
We got cameras everywhere. And, of course, we got our buddy over here, Mark Elder. Say what's up, Mark.
What's up,
Marky
everyone?
Mark.
How's it going? Happy Halloween.
Oh, is it Halloween tomorrow, huh?
Tomorrow.
The Bears.
Tomorrow, Halloween. And our very special guest, Sal Vergara.
Yes, sir.
Sal Vergara. Did I say it right?
Sal's a professional.
I mess up names like that's just
you did good.
That's just what I do.
You done good.
So we've got a great show for you today. We're going to hear a lot from Sal here. Sal is from HRQ in the house. We've got a lot of great content to get through, but we always like to bless this show with a prayer for our listeners. So, Foster, you want to go ahead and do us the honors?
You know, I'll be glad to. You guys bow with me. All you listeners, watchers. Father God, we thank you for another day. Now, here's what we are intending to do today is we're going to talk and we're going to focus on a lot of HR things that HR job seekers need to focus in on. We are blessed to have Sal with us. Sal is tremendous. You guys will see what I'm talking about. Once we get started in the show, we ask God that you bless our show and allow us to take away from this interaction the things that we can use to help us in our job search to find the right opportunity. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. So, guys, are you aware of any landings or anything in the network? Anybody?
You know, we had no landings in HR this morning, which is out of the ordinary.
Out of the ordinary, yeah. Guys, I would encourage you, if you land, send in your story to us. We want to hear it.
So, we want to hear about what's going on,
Yeah, definitely want to hear it. So that's whoyouknowshow@gmail.com. You can send in your story there. It's important for people to understand where, how and where these jobs are coming from.
Different ideas of using your job search, absolutely. It's a little bit more challenging in today's times than it has been, say, 20, 25 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And why is that?
I got gray hair now.
Is that it?
No, we have the influx of a lot of technology it's supposed to help us navigate through the things that we have to navigate through. It has created more work for us. It has shortened our attention span. And given those things, we have some new parameters to work through in a job search now. We need to know what that is.
Yeah, there's a lot of technology blocking people.
Yeah.
Right? Or scrubbing people. Or pre-qualifying people. Or the black hole, whatever you want to call it.
Or precluding people.
Yeah.
So, inadvertently.
And I recommend that we combat technology with technology. That's what I'm here for.
I knew that millennial would say that.
That's my mission, right? My mission is to help.
It's good.
Bring some technology to the job seeker so that they can use it to help them actually to rehumanize this process. So
that's what makes us a good team because I bring the human element. I keep it human. I really do.
What about some events or anything going on in the network, Mark? Do you know of anything going on?
Well,
what was that? There was the Grapevine Job Fair. That's over, right? Wasn't that last week?
I'm going to have to check.
Yeah, I think that was last week.
I have an event.
Yeah, go ahead.
So in talking to these guys, it's congruent with the spirit of what these guys are doing, and what I created was an HRQ in Transformation Network, which, again, it's the basic premise is to help folks who are specifically in the HR profession, so director level and above, directors, SVPs, CHROs, who happen to find themselves in transformation, a term that I coined in lieu of in transition. Sometimes in transition has a negative connotation, and I think it's more descriptive. In transformation, you're transforming your life. You're transforming not only your personal life, but your professional life as well. So I think it's a lot more positive spin. So I created the network where I bring in subject matter experts to talk about, and this sounds kind of ironic, having senior level HR folks come in, but they lack the skills in interviewing, in networking, in their what I call a personal value proposition, a PVP, where they can't really articulate or convey what they want to do at the next level.
Right.
Even leveraging LinkedIn. You guys are obviously experts out on it, but I brought in Craig Fisher, who you guys know.
Yep.
Oh, now
LinkedIn
that's
expert.
A subject matter expert.
And so the spirit of the session is I bring in subject matter experts to talk about tangible things, so you can actually physically do some things during the session to help position yourself better in the search for your own professional development and search. Of course, I'd like to be part of finding the professional, the HR professional, a role. That's what we do. That's one thing that we do at HRQ is search and interim and on-demand talent. But at the end of the day, we're here to help position folks so that they are better equipped and better skilled at some of the things, the fundamental things that may be intuitive to us and even some younger folks right out of school or some junior level folks that not necessarily the senior level folks have had to do in quite a while.
Right.
So anyway, that's the event next week is next Thursday the 7th. It's at the Star. It's invite only, so for those out there who are HR professionals, director level and above, if you find yourself in transition, or again, I call it in transformation, or if you're in seat, if you're an in-seat professional, HR professional, who just wants to sharpen their skills,
right.
Certainly let me know. I try to keep the group intimate, and the reason for that is to make sure that there's dialogue.
Right.
This is not really a presentation, it really is conversation. So next week I'm bringing in Lisa C. I don't know if you might know Lisa C., but she's a professional and career coach. And then I'm also bringing Seth McCauley, who you guys might know.
Hey, Seth.
Howdy, Seth. We saw Seth yesterday, and he was at my last session. He spoke as well, and he great example of what he did when he was in transformation. He and I met late last year. He was in transformation. During that period of time until he found his job, he actually started some LinkedIn videos to kind of chronicle his journey in transition or in transformation, and then he also started a podcast. So that helped develop a persona or a personal brand, which I think ultimately he'll tell the story that during his interview process they brought that up. And so that helped differentiate yourself in the market because he positioned himself as a thought leader.
Yeah.
And so it did help promote his ability to stand apart from the rest.
So he did a podcast. I love that. That's great because if you can take whatever industry that you're in, let's say you're in HR, right? And you're in HR and you want to create a podcast or do daily videos, anything basically to get visibility. And so he created his own platform using the podcast to get visibility and videos. And I'm sure he did it consistently, probably, right?
He did. And, he was careful about the cadence, which I think everybody should be. You can load up too much, I think.
Yeah.
So the content, everyone says content is king, but I think context is queen. You got to make sure that the context of what you're saying is appropriate and you space it out in cadence. So he did a great job at doing that. So he came in and will come in next week. We'll talk about how his strategy was in developing that persona and that personal brand. And he coined the term, so I'm not going to take credit for it, but relationshipping. Instead of networking, the essence of networking is developing relationships, and so
it is.
You really have to have that mindset, and so he just basically articulated it in a word. So kudos to Seth for coming up with relationshiping, and he practices that daily every time I see him.
Well, networking really is how can you build value in someone else, right? I mean, it's a strategic business relationship that can help you in many different ways. But a lot of times people go in a networking situation and they figure out they want to take. They think about what can I get out of this? How can I get something out of this?
That's not even half of it.
But if you go into a networking situation of how can I give, it's a biblical principle. You reap what you sow, and if you're sowing good seed, there's going to be a harvest.
The reciprocation is wonderful.
Right? Yep. And so go in and into any networking situation, whether it's something like this, or you go to a networking group or a happy hour, I don't care what it is. Mm-hmm. Figure out how you can go and sow good seed and bring value to someone else. How can I help you? And that's why I love the spirit of our network, being hope.
Yep.
Help one person every day.
One person, at least.
And I guarantee you, if you go out of your way, let's just say you can't even, a lot of times job seekers are like, well, I don't know how to help. How can I help them? Did you try?
Just ask.
Did you ask, right? Did you ask the right
questions? Normal
questions?
Conversation in a networking event.
Yep. And if you go out of your way, whether or not you created the opportunity or what you did for them helped them land a job, that's irrelevant. The fact is you tried. They'll remember that. And now what you've done is you've created what I call your own little sales team. Mm-hmm. Right? If you go help 100 job seekers, like if I was a job seeker, I'd go help 100 job seekers. Because now I've got 100 job seekers who are out selling me and thinking about me when opportunities come up.
An advocate.
You guys know how that happens? Honestly. Guys, all we have to do is get out amongst people. God works through people. If that's the case, then we need to be talking with people. People still hire us in the jobs, and we get processed by a lot of technology and different methodology a lot of times. But you know what? If you guys get into a conversation with a group of people, it's going to take its natural course. You will talk about things that you are familiar with, and it'll just happen. You will like somebody that you talk to. You'll feel an affinity for Trevor or someone in the group that you're talking with, and just let it happen. So don't try to figure everything out before you get there. What am I going to say? What am I going to do? Who am I going to? Just let it happen. Honestly, be yourself. We're people. Be yourself.
100%.
Yeah.
Of course, I don't know I was going to say that.
You stole my second point here, was lead with empathy.
Oh, okay.
But it underscores and validates what we're thinking along the same lines of, instead of going into the conversation of what can I get from this person, is how can I help you? And it will come back in spades. And that's the spirit of the networking groups here, and also at the in Transformation Network sessions as well.
Well, I'm excited about what you're doing over there at the Star. That's our backyard, right? And I think what did we decide on? December, and that's going to be at
we're still. Venue is still up in the air, but, but there are a couple of different venues.
Venues? Okay. So yeah, you guys connect with Sal, and maybe you can see us there at one of those events.
Yeah, so I approached Trevor and these guys to collaborate because the basic spirit of what we're trying to do is congruent with what this show does. So I always start the sessions with there's strength and vulnerability. So in order to get help, you have to be completely honest and open and embrace the situation you're in. Mm-hmm. I love the message of hope, because there are folks who are, took 3 months off because they could, and now they're beginning their search, and they're folks that have been looking for quite a while, and that does impact you emotionally and your psyche. I think all of us in this room, we identify ourselves through our jobs and our careers. And so
we're kind of trained to do it like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, most people, you wrap up your identity in what you do, right? And your company and a logo.
Yep.
Well, I want to tell the audience real quick is you are much more than just a logo. You're much more than the words typed on your resume.
Yes.
Your value is so much more than that. God gave us gifts and talents, put us here for a reason. Maybe this is your opportunity to find your purpose. Okay, I tell people all the time, if you can mix income with your passion, Now you're not working.
That's right.
Okay, but if you can also apply purpose, okay, like actually make an impact, now you can change the world, right? And I always use this example. So like, to give you an example to illustrate that, a football player makes money from doing what they love, but it may not really have a big impact. It's not really going to like change the world. Okay, people are entertained by it, great. But if they use that platform to go out and maybe volunteer, give back, use their influence to actually change the world, and I'm not going to get political, but like look at Colin Kaepernick, right? He stood for something. Like it or hate it, he stood for something.
Well, actually, he didn't stand. He kneeled.
Well, okay.
Wow,
Mark. Wow. But you get what I'm saying. And he, but what I'm trying to get at is that if you can mix income with your passion and also make impact and make change, you can literally, you can change the world.
What Trevor's saying, guys, get out. We all have gifts that have been given to us. If you don't know what your gift is, get to know it. Get involved some kind of way you can find out what your gift is. Then get out amongst people and let it shine. It will come out if you're talking in a group of people. I guarantee your gifts and what you're good at will just come out. You may not even notice that it does, but it will.
Well, so a couple other events that are coming up too. I definitely want to make sure that we get back to. Number one is TalentNet Live.
Oh yeah,
right. TalentNet Live is coming up December 6th. And so it is going to be at Toyota headquarters.
World headquarters. Everybody wants Toyota.
World headquarters over here in Plano.
Maybe you want a Lexus.
And it is going to be a premier recruiting and hiring event, if you will. It's not a job fair. It's for the recruiters and hiring managers. But a little word of advice is that there have been a lot of people that are looking for jobs at that event.
Yeah.
And there's a cost to it. But look, if you want to be rubbing elbows and meeting and greeting the recruiters and the hiring managers that are the movers and shakers here in DFW, you need to be at TalentNet Live.
100%. I'm telling you, all the decision makers are up in
the
that
cost
room.
is not that great, you guys.
Yeah.
It's very well worth it.
Oh, is it a couple $100, something like that?
Yeah, I think it's $100, $200.
Whatever, yeah. So, a couple $100 to get in the room with all the decision makers and start building relationship and value. Heck
and you can learn how we do our jobs, guys. We go there, we rub elbows, we find out what's new, what's happening, what some people are doing, using some of the new technology, the new tools, and what the results of that usage is.
Yeah, find out what their challenges are. Like, what is a recruiter's challenge?
Yeah.
How does the hiring manager fill candidates, right?
And there's nothing more impactful if you do attend that and there's something that you glean from the sessions and then you apply that in an interview. That's pretty impressive to be able to help talk through a problem or a challenge that the recruiter might be having or the hiring manager. Craig does a wonderful job. He's been doing this the 10th year anniversary.
Absolutely wonderful.
These are well attended. He's got great speakers and content is always top notch. So,
well, last year my big takeaway was that Monster.com was teaching the recruiters a video platform, basically combining video and their online calendar to solve the problem of phone tag, right? Because what's happening is the recruiter's calling the job seeker's not answering the phone, it goes to their voicemail, they leave a voicemail, then the job seeker calls them back, they're busy.
You never get anybody on the phone when they're at work.
You're going back and forth, right?
Yeah.
And you got this phone tag issue, and so they asked us to create the solution. They said, draw it out. What would you do? Draw it out on a piece of paper. So my solution was BombBomb. I drew out the video technology with a Calendly, which had an online calendar underneath, and I shared it with the Monster guy, and he goes, dude, that's the first time anybody's got that before. And he showed me they have their own software, and that's what they're teaching the recruiters. That's what Monster is. And so right now, if you're a job seeker, if you use a video and you use an online calendar, you set yourself apart, you're different. But as soon as these companies start catching on, you're just another video.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's their process. And if you don't fit their process, bye-bye.
Yep.
So right now you set yourself apart, but
right. Another event coming up actually a week from tomorrow. So Thursday, November 7th, there's the Red, White, and You event. So long-standing job fair, right? I think Red, White, and You has been going on a long time. It's going to be in Allen at the Allen Event Center.
Okay.
Pretty much all day. I think it's 9 to 4. Yeah,
that's a big
9 to
one.
4. So it's a big one. It's huge. Originally started with a strong focus on veterans, but it's open to everyone at this point, and there's a lot of opportunity, a lot of big companies that are going to be at that event.
You guys know what's coming up? What is coming up Tuesday?
Frisco Connect.
Frisco Connect.
Oh, I knew you were going to talk about that.
Guys, especially if you guys are over on the northeast quadrant of Dallas, you might want to check out Frisco Connect. It is at 18. I'm trying to think of our address.
Here it is. It's right here.
There.
Yeah, I got it right there.
Trevor's got it pulled up.
Oh, wait. No, it's not on there.
It's not on there. It's at Stonebriar Community Church, guys. Basically in Frisco, at the corner, close to the corner of Lebanon and Preston. And those are both major thoroughfares in Frisco, and you guys should be able to find that pretty easy. If you look at it as a T, that will be over on the southwest quadrant of that intersection. You can't miss the church. My God, it's huge.
Absolutely. Yeah. Make sure you guys come out. We want to see you at Frisco Connect. Let's do something real quick. Let's talk to the audience. We got a great audience with us. So let's see. We got Hatim. How are you doing? Edmund Younger. What's going on, buddy? Ernie Vanderleest. How are you?
Ernie, you with us?
Hey, Ernie.
Anders says, Happy Hump Day. I love it. Hump, hump, hump. Or is that? No, that's not how it goes. How's it go?
Mike.
Yeah, Mike. That's it.
The camel.
Yolanda, how are you doing? Guys, we'd like to give you a shout out. So here's what I'd like to do. Right now, go ahead and put a hashtag, what you are interested in, what you are searching for. So today we're going to be talking about HR. So if you're in HR, we'd love to see those hashtag HRs in the comment section. Go ahead and put those down. But if you're in IT, project management, QA, accounting and finance, whatever it is that you do, I'd like to see that in the comments section here so we can give you a shout out.
Barrett. Oh, guys, I want to give a shout out to our contingent of folks that are listening in Velsk, Russia. Believe it or not, 8 hours ahead of us. So we know. Hey, guys, we know that it is like 11, 12 o'clock at night. Over there, and we want to say hey to you guys and chime in. Feel free to jump right in there with us Americans.
That is Foster William, the job father in the house.
Oh my goodness, another nickname.
Yep. All right, so let's get those comments pouring in. We want to know what it is that you do, so just put a hashtag. Okay, so Brooke, how are you doing, Brooke? It's good to see you online with us. Brooke says hashtag HR. Very cool. So today's show is going to be all about HR. We're going to be talking more with Sal here in just a second when we get back. Let's see who else we got online with us. Meg Rose is here. How are you doing, Meg?
Rose is working.
Hey, Meg Rose.
I like the pictures you sent me of your new office. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. Congratulations again.
How's the new gig?
The new gig. The new digs.
Hopefully you're doing well over there.
Yeah.
Let's see who else we got on. Oh, yeah, you said Michelle. Oh, Andy Cook, how are you? She was on our show last week.
Andy Cook on here.
Yeah, Andy, how are you doing? Good to see you on with us. Guys,
Andy, we got to get you back on here. You're good.
Now, one of the things that I think is interesting is LinkedIn Live, right? It's still in the beta stages, so we have some times where it's got some glitches here and there. Like right now, I'm showing. It's funny because I got all these people on, but it shows I got one person on. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, yours says 1 too.
Mine says 58.
58. Isn't that funny? Like LinkedIn just does some weird stuff sometimes.
So speaking of that, listener audience, 2 things. Number 1, there's a little arrow down at the bottom of your screen. It says share next to that. Everybody, right now, take your finger
and hit the share button
and move your little mouse over to that share button and click that and just share it to your network. Go ahead and do that right now. Now.
Here's what it is. So I'm noticing this, guys, right now. I'm getting consistency on my computer, right? but my cell phone. So LinkedIn Live, we're going to be having a conversation soon. I want to just give you guys some feedback of what's going on. This is one of the things, the little inconsistencies in the comments, depending on where you're watching it.
Right.
You know what? That's good. Yeah, that's a good question. Audience, I would love to know, where are you watching this?
Are
you watching this on your cell phone like this? Or are you watching this like on the TV from a YouTube channel?
From a YouTube channel.
Or are you watching this from your computer?
Facebook, maybe.
Yeah. So how are you watching it?
That was actually part 2 of my comment was, if you have not yet done so, go over to YouTube, type in Who Ya Know Show, and when the Who You Know Show channel comes up, go ahead and click that little subscribe button that's right there.
And you know what's even better than that? You can go up in the description of this video. It's up above somewhere. It's like up here or over here, somewhere around here. There's a description to this video somewhere, and you can go in there, and there's something called a digital business card. There's a link there. Go ahead and download it. It's got all of our resources. So we do a lot of things like give out free professional headshots at Frisco Connect. We have a workshop that we teach every Monday, 1 to 5.
We're going to talk about that.
Yep. So a lot of different resources we have, guys. Go ahead and download that digital business card so you'll have it right there. Okay, so we've got some comments coming in. I want to talk to you guys about that. So here we go. Jeff says laptop, mobile phone. Joel says LinkedIn.
Joel.
Michelle says laptop. Ernie says hashtag iPhone. So this is good information for us to know, because I'm going to have a conversation with LinkedIn Live. I want to know, how does it look over there for you guys?
Melissa Saavedra.
It's still beta, guys. This is still really, really fresh and new.
Still beta. Yes, it is.
Still beta.
Not very many companies in Dallas-Fort Worth yet have the opportunity to be on this.
They sure don't. Adriana, how are you? Cell phone, she says. Let's see. Andy Cook says, I gave up on my cell phone, so I logged into LinkedIn from the PC. Yep, see, there's something, the mobile, LinkedIn needs to work on the mobile side of LinkedIn Live. Whatever it is, the mobile has inconsistency.
There's a lot of technology that's still being tuned in to figure out where the best communication sources are.
So I want to give a couple shout-outs. We got David Wayne says hashtag HR. Felicia Somerville, how are you? Good to see you.
Hey, Felicia.
Hashtag HR as well.
Joel Fry, LinkedIn.
Richard Cantrell says hashtag Office Service Manager. Joel, hashtag Operations. Mark Curtis, how are you doing, Mark? Hashtag Leadership.
Hey, Mark, I saw you this morning. Hey, brother.
So the reason why we're having everyone put their hashtag and what they do in the comment section, guys, is because there is an audience of recruiters, okay? And when we go to TalentNet, I'm going to be having some conversations with some of these folks to get them. I want to get them commenting back and forth. If you're a recruiter right now, I'd love to hear from you. You can put hashtag recruiter in the comment section.
Especially what you may be looking for right now, what you may be recruiting for.
Yeah, put hiring, hiring IT, hiring HR, whatever it is you're hiring for. But I think it'd be really cool if I could get both sides collaborating. What I notice is the recruiters don't always watch live, but they do watch, because I get the analytics of the show. So this show is pretty cool because it lives and breathes after it's live.
Right. There's hundreds of people, thousands of people that are watching after the fact.
After the fact. So, I want to get them on live, though. I want to get everybody in the same room.
Yep.
On the same platform.
Yep. Talking here in the comments.
Yep. So, very cool. Eric says, LinkedIn Live on iPhone. Good to see you here with us, Eric. Appreciate you. Good to see you. Michelle says she loves LinkedIn Live. I do too. This is just a really cool platform. So,
it is.
Guys, we appreciate you. And I also had something. I'm going to throw this out to the audience.
Okay.
I'm going to throw this out to the audience. I was talking with Mark and Sal and Foster about a game. I want to play a game. I want to have fun with you guys. I want to interact and have a good fun time. Mm-hmm. So there's even something cool I have on this little switcher thing.
So type in your most embarrassing moment in the comments.
Your most embarrassing moment.
I'm just kidding, but if you want to, go ahead.
So you see this? I pulled up a scoreboard over here, okay?
Yeah.
So guys, I have this cool little feature here where I can actually, home team. We're the home team. LinkedIn Live is the visitors, right? So obviously,
Bears and Cowboys.
Obviously, we're winning right now.
Oh no, not that again.
But I would like to know, What are some good ideas around that? Like we were thinking about maybe some trivia questions or something that we could play back and forth. Maybe job-related questions.
Yeah, I think it should be job-related or maybe
job search related. Definitely that.
Hiring related.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or maybe just fun.
Yeah.
Hey, do you remember when we had My Travel Host?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And
he
played
with where are we talking about?
Where's Waldo? Yeah, it was like Where's Waldo? Speaking of, real quick, I do want to give a shout out to our partners over at VIP.
Oh, Casey. Hey, Casey.
Guys, if you're in accounting or finance, you need to head over to wearevip.com and connect with a lady on LinkedIn. Her name is Casey Haston. She's amazing. She has a spirit of hope. She wants to give back. And I promise you, just mention the Who You Know show. She's going to take care of you. And if she can't help you, she's going to point you in the right direction. That's what she does. She is truly an advocate, and she knows how to network.
I want to put a plug out there for Stephen Swain. Stephen, I see you there in the comments. Thanks for joining us. Faithful listener, been through our Career Transition Network. And he's actually been inspired to start helping job seekers and providing some career transition services in his local area. So,
okay.
Yes, he is over in Fate, Texas, which is over by Rockwall.
Oh, wow.
Area.
Fate?
Yeah. Yep. And so there's a large need over in that area, that region, and I don't think that there's a lot going on as far as resources for career transition or folks in transition. He is starting to build some of that over in that area. He's got some support. He's also doing a church plant. But if you're over in the East Dallas, far East Dallas kind of side of the Metroplex, connect with Stephen Swain. Again, he's here in the comments. Stephen Swain, Swaim is his last name. Make sure that you plug into the resources that he's bringing to the table.
Love that. Thank you, Stephen, for all of your support, encouragement, and help, and all the things you're doing. That's awesome. Guys, this brings up a great point. Anybody that's helped you in your search, I want you to take just a moment right now and tag them. Okay, go ahead and tag them in the comments section. Anybody that has helped you in your search or inspired you, encouraged you, lifted you up, anybody that has, picked you up when you were down, I want you to go ahead and tag them. Just go ahead and just take your finger and just tag them. You know how you tag? You do the @ symbol. Do a little @ symbol, right? And then you just type their name in and it'll tag them in. Yeah, just type their name in there. And then put a little comment behind it and say, hey, you know what? I really appreciate all the love and support and everything you're doing for me. I think you should do that. Let's show some appreciation.
We are a network. We are a family, you guys, so let's act like it,
Yep, for sure. All right, so.
All right. Who do we got here? We got Sal still here.
Yeah, let's get back to the show.
We haven't run off, Sal.
That's all right.
We haven't run Sal off yet.
So, Sal, appreciate you coming in with us today and being part of this. You are another valuable part of the Who You Know Nation. We appreciate you so much. So, tell us a little bit about what you got going on, HRQ, and everything that revolves around that company and what you got going on.
Sure, I appreciate it. I work for HRQ. We are a comprehensive HR consulting firm, so we focus exclusively on HR professionals and the HR space. We've got 3 core service lines. One is retained search or executive search. So companies call and say, Sal, we're looking for a CHRO or a VP of talent acquisition. So we source those individuals. The second line is interim or on-demand talent, which I wanted to bring up in general in this conversation, is if you're out there and you have the financial wherewithal or the aspirations of doing interim work or contract work and you've not thought of that before, that avenue actually opens up quite a bit of different opportunities with interim. So you can leave an impact with a company, be it 3 months or 6 months or a year, and then you can move on to the next challenge. So you could be a trailblazer at a company, leave your footprint, and then go on to the next challenge. So if you haven't thought about that can be a lucrative, a flexible opportunity for you to go down that path, juxtaposed to a full-time gig. So think about that. The gig economy is, as you guys know, becoming much more prevalent. So again, if that's something you aspire to, I would like to talk more about that. Certainly let me know. And then the last piece, which you guys bring up, HR encapsulates many different things. So organizational design, talent acquisition, leadership development, succession planning, workforce planning, speaking your language.
That's right.
Executive leadership coaching. And so my wheelhouse is actually talent acquisition. I sold recruiting software prior to this role. And so we provide consulting services. So we've got subject matter experts in virtually every element or aspect of HR, and we provide that supplemental support for our clients.
Yeah.
So my responsibility is finding those opportunities and matchmaking, if you will. My passion's always been talent acquisition and recruiting. So kind of apropos being here to help along some folks. The networking show that I do, or sessions that I do, are very similar in nature, giving tips and suggestions of what I see on my side of the table, and having been a job seeker myself. I always lead with empathy. I've been in the shoes of someone who is looking for a job, and I think, in general, not to get too deep, but I think it's the degradation of empathy, both personally and professionally, that has kind of led us to where we are today, where it's difficult to communicate. I think if you always put yourself in the position of
in their shoes,
what you're going through, I think that'll dictate the way you offer help. And so a lot of things, I just kind of wrote down some things that popped in my head as we were talking about coming on here, tips and tricks and suggestions. I'm not an expert, but certainly through the many years that I've dealt with recruiting and talent acquisition, some of the things that I see, even going to your the last time I was on the show at the Star, talking to people and asking them, so what do you envision doing? And their, what I call the personal value proposition, their elevator speech.
Right.
They all stumble and can't articulate it very well. It's a safe space amongst us.
Safe space.
But you always have to treat every interaction you have, or at least this is my humble opinion, you need to treat every interaction you have, especially in the networking, relationshiping environment, as an opportunity to talk to somebody who might be able to hire you.
Totally. I love that. I mean, think about it like this. What if the decision maker was in that room, right? And it's kind of like, these Shark Tank or whatever. You get in there and you got to pitch, right? You got to bring your A game, right?
Yep.
And otherwise, you're going to get chewed up and spit out. But think about that. If you go to a networking meeting and you're able to stand up and clearly, tell the audience what you're looking for in a way that they want to help you.
And to be clear, don't that part of that articulation or that idea should not be about what you expect from the company.
Right.
It's about what you can provide to the company, what benefit they would get by having you on their team. So be very careful about that, because I've heard pitches where it's you guys can. What can you guys do for me versus the other way around?
Absolutely. Jeff Townsend and Mark Curtis, I suggest that both of you guys connect with Sal, and I'm going to try to help you guys do that. I'm going to try to remember, if you guys send me an email and remind me to, but I'm going to try to remember to do a personal introduction to Sal on LinkedIn for you guys. I've kind of got a 30, 40, 50,000 foot view of job search. So there, hey.
We'd love to meet the guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Both are executives, yeah.
Oh, excellent. The other thing, too, is I was in my meeting with Lisa C. this morning, because she's presenting career strategy at the session that I have next week. It's all about mindset. I know it's easier said than done. It's kind of conceptual, but if you think, you have to convey what you think. And if you think negatively, although you may not think you're articulating it as such, it does come out. Mm-hmm. So you really have to envision the way you want to come off. What's the message or the persona that you want to convey, and you have to really truly believe it. It's sort of like in sales, you got to fake it till you make it, right. And it really is. It does come out. The other thing that I see a lot by job seekers who come ask for recommendations, and again, these are folks who can be, as CHROs have asked my opinion, is don't forget to close the deal. And being that's sort of a sales-centric, you guys know, but what I mean by that is in the conversation, even if it's an introductory conversation, always close the deal of finding out clarity on the next step.
Yeah,
especially in an interview process. You are well within your rights to ask for what the process is. And
don't be timid to do that.
Don't be timid to do that. Ambiguity is not your friend. And trying to guess, should I call, should I not call, did I email too much? Make sure that you're very clear and concise about what that next step is. And then at the very end of your conversation, make sure you ask, based on what we've talked about, based on what I've described to you, is there anything that precludes me from going to the next step?
Yeah.
He puts them on the spot, makes them answer. And this is applicable for anyone, not just HR, just any job seeker. It's a sales tactic, if you will, but certainly put the onus on the other person.
Let's get real with it. Yeah, I mean, if you guys are interested, after you've interviewed, if you're interested, if you're excited about that job, you're going to want to know what's next anyway. So why would you not ask that question and show, number one, you may want to show them, say, hey, I'm right here, hire me, show me where I'm going to be sitting. You may or may not want to do that. But you want, at the very least, you want to know what the next steps are so that you don't go home from an interview that you're very excited about and you don't know what's next and you're just kind of hanging around and you don't really know when to call them and all that sort of thing.
Speaking of that and asking questions, right, there's always time at the end of the interview for questions on both sides. And when you're asked, do you have any questions or what questions do you have? Is there a go-to or a standard question that should be asked every time? I mean, is there a silver bullet question? What would you recommend?
I like questions, and I'll be interested to see what Sal says, but I like questions in the process of that interview. You have done your homework. You've checked out the company. You have determined that you may want to work there. You're trying to find out if you really do. What's expected of you? What's expected of this particular role? Now, as you're in a conversation in this interview with people, questions should be popping up. Tons of questions that you guys should be asking along the way to determine whether you're excited about this role or not.
Agreed. And there's the ubiquitous, where do you see this role in 3 years, in 5 years? You want to see what the progression is. And I think that gives the interviewer, the hiring manager, the recruiter, the idea of you're thinking long term.
Yeah.
Definitely ask where that role is and what aspect that you can play in that development.
Yeah.
So that progression, succession planning.
That actually, so there's a question that we ask in our profession, right? Financial services professionals that Trevor and I work in, and oftentimes we'll ask, a prospective client, like, in 10 years, when you look back at this meeting, right, and our initial interactions, in 10 years, what has to have happened in order for you to
be happy,
to feel like that was a great success and definitely worth, proceeding in discussion with you guys? What is that answer? So very much similar to that, like, where do you see this role in 3 or 5 years? I have heard some job seekers kind of put a little spin on that, like, in 3 or 5 years, what has to have happened for you to look back at this interview and say, hey, that was a great decision to hire?
Yep.
Well, I think Jill Johnson put it this way. Her answer was, or her question was, in the next 30, 60, 90 days, what are the things that are not on this job description that you need accomplished in the next 30, 60, 90 days?
Jane Ryan teaches a process of determining what the next 30, 60, 90 days are. You can find out in those interviews if you ask the appropriate questions, and you can put together a process. You can put together a plan.
How about this question, guys? I would like to hear what your thoughts are on this question, okay? So you're going through your interview, and at the end they're asking you for, do you have any questions? Yeah, right. Absolutely. What is it that you saw on my resume that made you decide to bring me here today? Was there something specific you saw on my resume that made you decide to give me a call?
Because that will be a pain point.
Yeah, I mean, whatever that they tell you, that's something that you really need to dig into, figure out why. Is that a problem that they're having that they need solved? Right? That's a pretty good question, too. So what are your thoughts on that?
That's a very good
Great question. Another good question is, are you a Bears fan?
No. And the answer to that...
That's a short answer.
Guys, the answer to that is absolutely 100% no Bears fans in the house today. It's all about the Dallas Cowboys.
Lord.
Okay?
I like that question.
All the Giants fans just cut off.
Speaking of Dallas Cowboys, okay, guys. Speaking of Dallas Cowboys, we have a workshop, okay, that's going to teach you a lot of these things that you need to know about your job search, about how to follow up, best practices, all these different things. So that workshop is every Monday, 1 to 5, over at the Cowboys World Headquarters. So make sure you come out. you can register for that workshop. Up in that comment section is somewhere over here.
You need to register, guys. And one thing about it, if you register, make sure that you show up. Now, things happen. Life happens. If you find out that you cannot show up, let Trevor, Mark, myself, let us know ahead of time.
Yeah, just give me a shout. Things happen.
I love this question, Andy. Great question. Andy Cook wrote, I always ask, do you have any reservations about hiring that I can speak to before we wrap up?
I like that too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, is there anything I need to know?
Get the objections.
Yeah.
Right? Get the objections out.
A big
Thank you, Andy.
thing in sales, right? And this is all about sales, guys. You need to overcome those objections. And if you can overcome them before they come out, that's always good. Mm-hmm. But you're not always going to know. They're not always going to tell you, oh, you know what, I'm not hiring you because you look weird.
Yeah. I don't like your haircut.
I don't like, Speaking of haircut, Sal, man, love it, bro. Like,
Sal is very eclectic. I love Sal.
Man, you're always GQ.
Anybody can dress as Sal.
I love it, too. Actually, that's how my hair was in high school. Totally.
Oh, yeah.
Same cut.
Oh, now you're trying to, okay, all right.
I want the comments. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in here on Sal for just a second. I'll zoom in.
Let's go there.
Guys,
he's going
let's take a look. Look, he's got the pocket square. You know what I'm saying? Look at GQ. Look at I'm just saying. So, guys, let's comment in. Let's see. I want to hear.
Tell us how you like Sal style. Hey, Sal, another question that I had. We just talked about this because you were at the conference yesterday, but the HR Southwest or Southwest HR?
HR Southwest.
HR Southwest conference, part of SHRM and Dallas HR. That is going on. Actually, it's finishing up today, I believe.
Yeah.
Were there any takeaways as far as recruiting, job search, or anything like that? Techniques or strategies, tips and tricks that you talked about or discussed with folks there yesterday?
I think that a common theme is from a recruiting and talent acquisition perspective for candidates. So you guys out there, make sure that, and this is kind of broad, this is not necessarily from the conference, but make sure that you have whatever representation it is, a CV, a bio, or a resume, make sure that it tells the story. I think that's the commentary that I heard from recruiters at the show was it's a regurgitation of the job description, which it doesn't really paint the picture. As you can imagine, these recruiters and hiring managers have to go through hundreds, if not thousands, of profiles.
Oh, yeah.
So this is your one shot. I hate to kind of dumb it down to that, but it's your one shot to really make an impression of bullet pointing some of the accomplishments. Make it quantifiable. I've read a lot of resumes that are literally regurgitation of job descriptions from the...
Well, because it's what's being taught, okay? I have to say this, guys. Here's what's being taught, okay? Take your resume and then go to JobScan. Is it JobScan.com, right?
.co.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So here's what's being taught. You take your resume, and then you go to JobScan.co, and you plug in the job description, and you plug in your resume, and
keywords.
The keywords is gonna try to match them all up and try to make your what? Okay. I don't know if I agree with that, guys. I'm gonna get this might be a little controversial. I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know if I agree with it. Okay, because all you're doing is you're trying to cheat the system. Really, is what you're trying to do.
You're gaming the system.
You're trying to game the system for the keywords, and I don't know.
And your resume, a bio, resume, CV, whatever you call it, has to show the progression of where you got to, and kind of tell the story of where you want to go.
Absolutely, and it needs to be germane with what they're looking for, guys. That job description that they have posted is what they have need for. Get that thing to talk about that.
And don't limit yourself to one resume. You might have a dozen resumes depending on what company and what role they are looking for.
Yeah,
you really truly try to have to customize it. So
there you go. So here's the recommendation I think is official, right? You want to have a master resume,
right?
Okay,
right.
It could be 12 pages long.
Hey.
I've seen people have that. It's the master resume. And then that way you can go hand tailor. I don't know about this JobScan. Guys, I'd like to hear your feedback on that in the comment section. If you're using JobScan.co, how's it worked? Are you still in the black hole? Are you getting any calls? And I really want to know the true answers to that because I don't know if it's helping.
And let us know if you have used that technique with one master resume, one resume to rule them all, and just tweak that or copy and paste from that to build your resumes for a specific position.
Guys, if you have the keywords you're looking for, the arrangement of those keywords, the context of what the company is looking for, that's what those keywords should be put in an arrangement to understand. This is my experience. I have used that software. I have used that methodology as I'm looking to do this particular thing, and I have done it a couple of companies back. I want to show that experience that I have for what you are looking for. Then you want to network to try to find a connection.
Also, right. to add your point, the technology that's out there, just be prepared as a candidate to accommodate the different ways companies are interviewing. Before it used to be video, companies like HireVue, great companies that have developed that and optimized that technology. Now it's text, where texting it's a lot more efficient. That's the way this generation is beginning to communicate much more proficiently. In fact, as a testament to it, one of my last big deals at my previous company, which happened to be with Craig, we did half the deal
in text?
Via text. It'd be 9:00 at night, and we, nothing contractual, of course, but just the basic fundamentals of engagement. What is this question? Here's the answer. And so just be prepared to be flexible about the way companies will interview you. It could be live. It could be via Zoom or...
you have to be adaptable.
Adaptable.
Yeah. And you got to be able
Melton.
You got to be able to communicate on all the platforms, right?
And be proficient at it.
And that's what we teach at our workshop, guys. So that book right behind you, actually, Sal, you want to grab that book right there? I want to mention this real quick.
I was looking for that book.
We have something fall down there. Okay, so, guys, I'm going to give a quick shout-out to this book. It's Rehumanize Your Business. And basically, in our workshop, we're going to teach you some technology that helps you communicate. This is all about effective communication, okay? This is about rehumanizing your job search process, getting the human element back in, because what's happened is, you know what, these robots and all this artificial intelligence and all these Terminators are coming out and they're terminating you.
The Jobinator.
So, no, but seriously, you're going in the black hole, and so we need to rehumanize it. We're going to teach you this process. So shout out to Ethan Butte. He's the author of this book. Guys, we're in chapter 9 of this book because of how it's working and how we're helping people with the job search process. So shout out to that real quick. Thank you, of course, for that. Let's talk to the audience real quick. There were some comments that came in about the generic, right? So let's see what we got. Andy Cook says, I don't agree with generic job descriptions. Put relevant bullet points in order of importance.
Thank you, Andy.
I have a tip on my page today. So go check out Andy Cook's page.
I love this one. Ernie Vanderleest wrote, I used it and never got over 75% match. I prefer to hashtag who you know.
Love it. Love it. Melissa says, your resume should speak to what the company is seeking, but it also needs to genuinely reflect your work experience, projects, and accomplishments.
Amen.
Agree, 100%, Melissa. Thank you for that comment. Let's see what else. Been interviewed. Okay, Stephen Swain says, been interviewed by the ATS system before it would send the application. All right. So, guys, I would like to know if you're using that job scan tool and if it's working for you. That's great. I want to know what works. I want to know what's effective. What are the strategies? Are there any other things that you're doing right now that we should be aware of that I don't know of, right? Is there any other technology? Guys, if you're using any technology in your search, I would love to hear about it because here's the deal. They're using technology to weed you out. I would use technology to put you back in the game.
I find it very interesting that in trying to get my head wrapped around, but the texting, right?
Yeah.
We know that that's coming.
Oh, yeah.
It's not coming. It's here.
It's here. Yeah, it's here.
Which is cool because you can finally use an emoji in your interview, right? If you're texting in IDK.
Yeah.
But I think
Mark's joking, guys. Mark's joking.
I'm joking. But I really think that it tells us who the audience is, right? Who is doing the hiring, or at least the weeding out which in many cases, I mean, we all know this. It's people that are graduating from college, younger millennials who are using these tools, that are pushing the boundaries, right? You're doing that here, Trevor.
Yeah.
And to your point, when you're responding to something like that, you use the word genuine and authentic, kind of cliche things. You don't want to look scripted, but at the same time, this is an opportunity for a company to assess the level of professionalism when you respond back. I mean, even though it's text, this is not, like you jokingly said, emojis and IDK. You should have some semblance of a bit of professionalism on your other end. I always say it's better to err on the side of professionalism and wait until you know what the culture is. I remember when I first started, I was a mortgage banker 14 years prior to me jumping into this industry. I was suit and tie.
Oh, cool.
And then
better be overdressed than underdressed.
Exactly.
Right?
So
he fit in well.
To your point, I went to my first job at selling recruiting software jobs to web. Elevator's door opened up, and everybody's in cargo shorts and flip-flops. I'm in a suit. So my point is that get to know the culture first, and then you're able to kind of be your genuine self. But I'd err on, especially with text, make sure you err on the side of professionalism, because that could get you in. That could preclude you from the next step.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to know, right? Like, what do they prefer? You know, do they want text? Do they not? Like, it's kind of hard to know what technologies they're going to be okay with, what they're not going to be okay with.
Who, the companies?
Yeah, the companies. Yeah, the companies. It's kind of hard to know, like, because, well, I'll give you an example. Like, even with resumes, the recruiter or the hiring manager may want it formatted a certain way because that's what they're used to. That's what they're comfortable with.
That's the way the ATS will be able to scrape it efficiently.
Yeah,
sure. And some like might want a cover letter, right? And some may not like that.
Right. What's right or wrong?
So you never really know. But I think it's also kind of like what you were saying about the suit. Like, maybe just do the cover letter anyway.
My experience is that...
What are your thoughts on that?
We talked about this in HR this morning.
This is my humble opinion on cover letters. It's a bit archaic. I don't know if you would agree to it.
In some instances.
And in some industries, like in software, I'll just bring out software where it's generally a younger demographic, be it the founders or whoever's working there. They could care less about a cover letter. And it may, unfortunately, dissuade them because they're thinking that you're not innovative thinking or forward thinking enough, that you're still kind of stuck in the archaic ways of submitting. It is a tightrope. It's a walking the tightrope of. That's why it's incumbent upon you to do a lot of research on the culture, do as much research with people that you'll be talking to.
Yeah.
And two things that I wanted to bring up was go back to the basics. The please and the thank yous. I think common courtesy has, to me, and getting on my soapbox, has kind of gone by the wayside, and it's at the reason is efficiency. And I think that we're skating on thin ice, and we're erring on the side of now it's not even professional anymore. Please and thank you go a long way.
Yeah,
and
they do.
For me, if you talk to somebody, if I interview with Trevor, I'm going to send him a thank you for taking the time out to do it. Whether he reads it or not, I think it's just, in essence, it should be a progression that's the cadence of what you should do when you interview. So please and thank yous go back to the basics, and then make sure that when your follow-up in the cadence of that. And the second thing is don't Casper anyone. You know that?
Don't Casper.
Even if you're friendly. Even if you're friendly.
And it's funny because now the tide has turned where we've seen where companies are lamenting over the fact that candidates are now standing them up even when they're first day.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But I laugh, not ha-ha laugh, but companies have been doing that for decades with candidates.
Yes,
I've been ghosted. For me, again, I always err on the side of what you do would make your grandparents or your parents embarrassed. That's kind of the litmus test and the barometer.
Yeah.
Don't ghost, because this industry, and when I say industry, just job in the employment market in general, is so very small that you're going to run into someone, especially if you're in a particular industry, finance, mortgage, where I came from, software sales, everyone knows each other.
Everybody knows each other.
And so your personal integrity will follow you long after you leave.
Yes, companies, guys, are you listening? Now, if you spend the time to bring somebody aboard and they interview with a lot of times, sometimes quite a few people inside of the company, sometimes it might be one of those interviews where you're in the room with a whole lot of people. Please, guys, don't leave it to the system to return an email to Trevor to say, oh, Trevor, we decided to go with somebody. Somebody has got the time. I have been a recruiter for longer than I want to tell you guys. I think it's a good idea if you at least send that person an email trying to explain. You don't have to get into the details. You can't do that. It's not safe. But at least show that you cared enough to get back with that person and let them know what the final decision was.
Mm-hmm. Circles back to empathy. That's kind of the underlying case there. And
couple comments here. One was Melvin Willis. And
hey, Melvin, saw you this morning.
He wrote a question, right? What tools to use to better your chances of getting through the automatic or applicant tracking system, ATS? And then there's a follow-up to that, which Mitch, hope you're doing well. Mitch Jacobs.
Hey, what's going on, Mitch?
Mitch Jacobs.
He wrote, I just arrived. Have you discussed sites like Wordle online to analyze job descriptions and resumes to identify the keywords that are repetitively used, representing an employer's priorities? So that's one right there, Melvin, is Wordle, right? Jobscan.co is another one. But really, I think the best technique to get yourself through the applicant tracking system is not to go in at all, or go in but then find a way around the applicant tracking system, right? In the I guess the theme of who you know, that's really probably one of your best bets as far as getting noticed and out of the black hole.
The black hole.
Yep.
Yeah, you need to try to, have a conversation with somebody, a human, live, real conversation that can take you a long way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And get you out of that black hole, because we've had people all the time that get that automatic canned email saying thanks but no thanks.
That just doesn't feel good,
right?
And Craig Fisher did 5 or 6 years ago. I sat in on the session where all the attendees became candidates, and so then the exercise was to write what you would do to turn yourself down, and it enlightened everyone, because
that will.
You have with the golden rule, do unto others, and it really it made everybody much more aware of the interaction you have. And again, not to oversimplify it or overcomplicate it, but just like you said, a response, a human response goes a long way, because this is impacting somebody's psyche. And it does.
I talk to too many job seekers. No, let's flip the script on that. I like that, Craig. I've known you forever anyway. I can see you doing something like that, but it does have an impact. Help us understand as people what it's like, what we're putting people through. Right. We may not even know we're doing it. So we are branding ourselves and our companies the entire time, the entire recruiting process, interview process, the whole process of that particular job that you might hire. You might hire Trevor. You may not hire Trevor. But be decent to Trevor.
Yeah, be decent to me. Hey guys, I've got something I want to share with you. I'm going to see if I can make this work. Let me see if I can do a screen share real quick. And I saw we had a special guest, Fanny.
Our roving reporter.
Fanny, I'm going to pick on you real quick. Okay, I'm going to type in your name. I'm going to pull up your profile. Fanny Dunnigan. Guys, you need to go connect with Fanny Dunnigan.
Absolutely.
She is amazing. And you know what? Right now, she is looking for some SAP, some SAP.
She's going to get on you. Yeah, look, SAP professionals.
Look, SAP.
She's talent acquisition over there at Delaware, and looking for some SAP, looking for some SAP professionals. But one of the things I wanted to point out, let's say, you know what, you were looking at that company and you applied online, and Fanny's a decision maker, right? And so you need to get in contact with her. You need to have a human connection, a human conversation. What I would do is I would look at Fanny's profile and take a look and first of all see if she's active on LinkedIn. Okay? And so what I mean by that is I want to take a look at her activity section. Okay? And on her activity section, this is going to tell me a lot about Fanny. Fanny, I hope you're okay with this. I'm just throwing you under the bus right now. But Fanny, right here, it shows all activity. I get to really know a person right here in this section. I get to know everything. Look, she's doing a presentation. Go, Fanny. All right. Look at this. She liked Kyle Burt's episode.
Yeah, she liked Kyle Burt's episode.
Yeah, she liked Kyle Burt's episode, so it tells me a lot about that. She commented on this person's post, right? So it tells me a lot about her right here in this section. The second thing I want to know is she active? So does she actually post anything? Well, yeah. 20 minutes ago, Fanny posted this right here. 20 minutes ago, okay? So what I would always encourage you to do, if it's a recruiter and you're trying to get their attention, if it's a hiring manager, you're trying to get their attention, go leave a comment.
Go learn something about them.
Yeah, go to their posts and then actually like I would go give her some hands over here, and then I'd give her a comment, and then I'd tag her, right? So you want to type the @ symbol, and then...
You're going to have to zoom. It's hard to see.
Oh, is it hard to see there? Let me zoom in. So you're going to give her some love right here, right? Literally, you could give her a heart, okay? And then you want to tag her, all right? So @Fanny, okay? And I tag her, and I say, hey, great, I can't spell today.
Yeah,
Great article or video or whatever. And then what I'm going to teach you is how to put a video in. I'm going to use a bomb to go over here and put a video behind your comment, okay? So literally I would go like this, guys. You guys see me? All right, I'm going to go 3, 2, 1. Hey, Fanny, I'm live on the Who You Know show. I just saw your video comment. That is awesome. I'm leaving you this video. I hope you love it. Or if you hate it, you can tell me that's cool too. Either way, let me know. But then I'm just going to save it. Okay. It's going to save it to my account. And I'm going to put that message. Watch the response I'm going to get from Fanny. This is going to be pretty neat. So I'm going to copy the URL.
Right.
Okay. And I'm just going to paste it right here. Okay. Now, Fanny's going to look at that. I'm going to say something like, here are my video thoughts or comment, whatever you want to say. Okay.
That is pretty neat.
And post it. Okay.
She'll click on that.
She's going to click on that. And bada bing, bada boom, it's going to pull up that video that I just did one of these days. There it is. There's the video. So anyways, the reason why I'm sharing this with you guys is because this is an easy way to get Fanny's attention. If Fanny is a decision maker at a company,
hiring manager, yeah,
you can use technology to your advantage. You can send her a video comment. Maybe you send her a video message in her inbox. But what you want to do is try to show her some love on her platform, not just in her inbox, because her inbox gets full.
Yeah,
right?
You're probably not going to get the traction or engagement that you want through.
Fanny said she didn't know that BombBomb could be integrated into LinkedIn.
She didn't know?
She didn't know. She just learned something.
Fanny, love you. I'm glad. I'm sorry I'm picking on you today.
I want to go back to the comments because there's a great one, and she actually came through the workshop. So hey, Melissa Saveda, she wrote, as a recruiter for the past 10 years, and this is going back to the cover letter, I am only interested in seeing a cover letter if there's something additional you think I need to know in addition to your resume, such as career pivot, coming back into the workforce after a period of leave, maybe personal knowledge of the job, but maybe no workplace knowledge. So that's a huge one, right? We get asked all the time, how do I navigate or address being a stay-at-home mom for the last 8 years, right? Mm-hmm. Or taking care of my parents, right? Or whatever the case may be. If there's a gap, right?
How do you explain the gap?
Right? Tell your story in the cover letter at that point. That's a great idea, Melissa.
You want to know some other ways to do it?
Absolutely.
Here's some other ways to do it. Don't have a gap. You want to know what I'm saying by don't have a gap?
Fill in something.
Okay. Guys, a lot of people are doing consulting work.
Absolutely.
Okay. Create your own LLC. Create your own business. Mm-hmm. Okay. And have your own consulting firm and have that on your LinkedIn profile forever. Okay. You are never unemployed Because while you're working at a company, you're working there. But as soon as you're unemployed, right, quote unquote, you have a consulting firm. That's your business, right? So it's your side hustle.
And if you're doing things that need to be put there, if you're doing things for companies, if you're doing things on a voluntary basis, what we are hiring, I'm a recruiter, what we're hiring is your knowledge of that function to be able to do that function. It doesn't really matter whether you've been paid or not. It's important that you can show that experience that you have gleaned.
Yeah, 100%. And then on your resume, you get to put, Trevor Houston Consulting to present. Right? It's not in the past. It's to present.
Right.
What are your thoughts, Sal? What do you think as far as addressing a gap or, maybe having some strategy on addressing?
The comment you just read is spot on.
Okay. Yeah,
because oftentimes I read cover letters that are simply, I look forward to working for,
Yeah.
It's templatized verbiage. Having to explain the gap in your employment, especially if you've taken care of a parent or if you've taken care of your kids, that completely is, I think, like you said, get the objections out of the way. And like we always say in sales, lose fast.
Yeah.
Just get all those objections out of the way so you address them quickly so you can move on with the process. But I think that's a spot on the way you address that.
But how do you do that, right? Okay, so you want to overcome the objection, okay? But if the applicant tracking system is automatically kicking you out and putting you in the black hole because it shows on your resume that there's a gap, you're never getting the opportunity to overcome the objection with a human being.
And therein lies the spirit or the
catch-22
of the impact that
I'm waiting to
like
hear
this
answer.
Networking with we always say you're 1 degree away from your next job.
You are.
Seth McCauley got his job via a common friend. So we both know the same gentleman who introduced him to that opportunity he is in now. So again, that the networking piece and the relationship piece is extremely critical, and I think that those stories are many. And so things like this where you network, and don't forget to network outside of the industry you want to work in.
Totally.
Did you hear that relationship word, you guys, especially the folks in our HR Career Search Network? Oh, by the way, guys, every Wednesday from 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock, we have an HR focus group. We focus on HR type of stuff. In South Lake, you will find this meeting, 185 South Whitechapel Boulevard at the Whitechapel United Methodist Church. We are in room 2234 at 9 o'clock every Wednesday. So hopefully you guys will play this video again, and then you can get that. If you missed that address, you can pick that up.
I met some good people there.
Absolutely. We have wonderful people in that group.
How would you address this, or I'll just ask the question for Jared Walker. Great question. Interesting comment regarding consulting as professional continuity. I find that ATS systems have a really hard time ingesting my long-standing / ongoing personal consulting position, presumably because of the time frames, the overlap, right? Because you've got maybe 1980 to present with your consulting company, or you've got a long history with that. Do you break that up?
Absolutely.
Okay. So in the gap, you just put that date range that you've done the consulting for that gap.
Well, maybe, especially if it speaks to that job that you're looking for, especially if it shows that direction for what the company's looking for. Tell them what they're looking for.
Well, also you can do different functionalities within that.
Right.
So I'll give you an example. Like just in what we're doing now, I'm learning a whole bunch of cool new stuff, little tricks and things like all this producing stuff, like moving these cameras and stuff. Like, look at that. I'm going to move the camera over here and say, what? Look at me. I got this little switcher over here. So I am now doing producing. Well, that would be something I would put on there.
Yeah, you can definitely put that. Absolutely, right? You can put that into your resume. Absolutely.
So what I'm saying is, like, maybe if you have a long time, if you've been doing it since 1980 is what you said. 18.
Oh my!
If you've been doing it since 1852, no. If you've been doing it since for like 20, 30 years or whatever, give me your journey Tell me what you've done. You didn't start off and do everything in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Agreed. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Am I saying that right?
Yes, it does. And making it germane to what the company is looking for. I can't stress that enough. Yep. I can't stress that enough, you guys. Look at my face.
Yeah, you're trying to solve a problem, essentially, right?
Absolutely.
And they're paying you to solve that problem.
Why would they call you? Why would they be interested in talking to you? They got a certain problem. Why would they be interested in talking to you? Sometimes we can only express that on a piece of paper initially.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead. I was just going to say, too, I mean, I think that in doing what Trevor had suggested, which is, setting up a company and doing some consulting, especially if you've been hired, somebody has paid you for that consulting, that speaks volumes. Like, that speaks more to me. If I were thinking about hiring somebody and somebody went out on their own, right, built up this company, this entity, and somebody actually had enough faith in them and their expertise to pay them independently, like, that says a lot about that person. Mm-hmm. And that's the type of person that I would want to hire.
Yeah. That subject matter expert is what you are absolutely trying to hire to come into your company and perform whatever it is that you need to have done. That is what they are doing, guys. That's what these job postings are for, to attract the people that have had the experience that they're looking to hire.
I really like, Sal, what you were talking about. What was the gentleman's name that did the podcast?
Seth McCauley.
Seth. So I really, really liked his idea of doing that podcast. I think it's pretty cool. Obviously, we're doing this one, right?
Yeah.
But I think if you're a job seeker, if you can find a way to make content, if it's a podcast, if it's audio, visual, whatever, if you're making content, I tell this all the time, you cannot just have a profile on LinkedIn. That is not enough. In 2019, that's not enough. You actually have to be active. You actually have to post content. You have to be relevant. And so I like that idea of a podcast, but you could do videos, you could do posts, articles.
I was talking to an HR professional who was in transformation, and she asked the same question, what can I do to help differentiate myself? And so we started talking about her passion in her particular role.
Ding, 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 passion.
And so I said, you know what, go focus on that topic or topics. Think about 30 seconds to 60-second snippets, stick it on LinkedIn, and everybody calls himself an expert online. But if you really espouse that knowledge and you convey that confidence in knowing about that topic, that helps the perception of you as a thought leader in that particular space, which leads to people looking at it and saying, you know what, this person might be someone we need to talk to. And which also, one of you guys brought up the point of doing research. Do research on the company. Go online, go on the interwebs, and Google the company. And if there are certain elements of the company that they're struggling in, find different topics that you can talk about once you go into the interview. I would proactively bring it up and ask a question. What can my role do to help impact this or solve this particular problem?
I love it.
You're more proactive. You're taking a proactive stance and trying to solve a problem for them before they even ask you.
You might teach them something about their company that they didn't even know, guys.
Totally.
An objective perspective, yeah.
What about their company pages, right? Because let's face it. Let's say you're Toyota, right? You're going to have a company. Facebook and a LinkedIn and a Twitter and a YouTube and a whatever, right? You've got all these channels. So one of the things that I would recommend is to go to those channels and leave some comments, leave some value. Because guess what? They have page managers that are watching, that are going to respond to you, okay? And they are probably not your decision makers. But they work for the company.
They talk.
Guys. So maybe go leave some comments or do a post about some of their content.
Plus, it gives you a window into their culture. Are they philanthropic in nature? You might share the same things that they're passionate about, Habitat for Humanity or, Guns and Hoses, that supports emergency responders.
Yeah, it does.
So, again, that's just a perfect opportunity for you to dissect and analyze or understand what the culture is within the company, and then cultivate your talking points within an interview.
Yeah, I love that.
Bring that up. Because that might speak to the interviewer's passion as well.
Yeah.
More than likely it will.
Yeah, 100%. Let's talk to the audience real quick. We want to give you a shout out. So I got a lot of people online with us. Fantastic, Andy Cook. Good to see you here. Alyssa Swan. Hey, how are you?
Hey, Alyssa, how's that new job?
Let's do this.
Brooke Birdsong, consulting as a side hustle now.
Yeah, there you go. Love it, love Brooke. It, love it.
Hey, Brookie.
It's Shout Out Wednesday. So what we'd like you to do is go ahead and give a shout out to anybody that has helped you in your job search, or maybe any groups. If there's a group around here in DFW that has helped you, like I know this morning we were just at Career Alliance at St. Jude's Church.
Oh yeah, Jack Beck.
Yep.
Yeah.
We were just there this morning. So if there's any groups around here that you've attended, all right, I would like to see those in the comments section. Anybody that has inspired you, encouraged you, helped you, pulled you out of a slump, right? I know the job search can have ups and downs.
Oh, it will.
And if you're having some down moments, you know what, Sal, what would you encourage somebody to do if they're feeling down and out, depressed, hopeless?
Like I said at the very beginning, there's strength in vulnerability. And I think if you find network groups like this platform, for HR professionals, the In Transformation Network, where you can be completely honest, but it's especially critical to make sure you talk to somebody, because I've talked to a few professionals that they're in a dark spot right now.
Yeah.
And there was a story, kind of the genesis of how I got to in transformation from the word in transition. One of the attendees from my session said she went to an event, and she's a high-level HR exec, happens to be in transformation, and people would ask her, "Hey, what's your name?" "Oh, I'm Sal." "What's your name?" "Oh, I'm so-and-so. What do you do?" "Well, I'm in transition." And she said 99.9% of the people just walked off and said, "Well, it's a pleasure to meet you," and walked off.
Wow.
And that broke my heart, because this is the most opportune time to, especially in HR, the spirit of it is human resources, the human aspect of it.
Yeah, the human.
It should be, this is the perfect opportunity to help out. And so always lead by empathy. I would always seek, whether it be you or you guys or me, to talk to somebody through that. There's always someone else in a worse spot, but that doesn't help you. Psychologically that may not help, but just know that there are resources out there to talk about it, because there is a light at the end of the tunnel. I think the networking piece is critical to meet the right people who can give you that uplifting confidence.
Yeah.
The confidence is a big problem.
Confidence.
I love that.
Jane Ryan says, seek first to understand and then to be understood. If you think about that, guys, it really works that way.
Be sure to, in your networking, also not just focus on career transition networking groups.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that are going to meetings maybe every day, and it's all career transition. You guys need to have, and I think it was 8 to 10 is the number that I heard, 8 to 10 networking activities every week. And that's not going to Frisco Connect or South Lake Focus Group or, St. Jude or JFS or any of those.
Might be a one-on-one.
It might be having a phone call, right? That's a networking activity, right? Having an informational interview
Connecting
over
with
the
somebody.
phone. Meetup.com. Get out there and get tied into your professional associations. If you're in HR and you're in career transition and you're not part of Dallas HR, go join Dallas HR. They have a career transition rate or membership. And it's like super cheap. I think it's $50 for the year or something like that.
I'm talking to the group in March, actually.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Tremendous.
I mean,
We're gonna be there in January.
Could be an I Love Dogs group, right? But go find
Boxers.
Boxers. Go find another group that everybody else there is working, right?
And
Not just career transition.
you may also consider, to add to that, getting a career coach if you have the wherewithal to do that.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to go this alone. There are professional folks that have gone through and walked your path and can help you strategize. Because, again, not to oversimplify it, but also not to overcomplicate it, but there is a strategy to job seeking.
The 100%. Yeah.
It is your job to find another job. It's a lot easier to find a job when you have a job,
right?
But there is a strategy to it, and there's a cadence of reach outs, like you said, the number of, just like in sales, the number of calls you make or reach outs that you get. but it's also a strategy of who you should actually reach out to. You got to be strategic about that. How often, where. So consider a coach that they're out there. They're career coaches. Lisa C is one of them. I work with a cadre of coaches here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. But
or a net weaver.
Well, I have an idea for my LinkedIn audience here. I have an idea for you. If you're having a hard time, you're having a day that. What did he say?
Go to church.
Go to church?
Yeah,
totally. You know what? It might be the time for you to rekindle your relationship with your Maker, right? Maybe it's been a while. Maybe you need to go have a conversation with Him. Listen, right? You need to be quiet, be still, and listen. He'll give you the answers, and He'll guide your path. He'll guide your feet, whether it's to one person, to the next, right? So I agree with that. Stephen, thank you for that comment. Another thing that you could do is show some appreciation, okay? I talk about this all the time. If you're having a down day, like you're having a day where you just feel like, I don't know if I can do this, you might just send a message to your spouse and say, hey, you know what? I love you. I appreciate you. I value having you in my life, and I want to know how I can be a better spouse, okay? They're going to, on the other end of that conversation, be like, what? And probably be like, oh, my gosh, I can't believe you would do that. So I would encourage you guys to go show some appreciation, show some love. I remember a specific time having a down day, and I did that. And their responses put me up here. It instantly increased me, right? Instantly.
So I have a crazy idea. Maybe it's not so crazy, guys. This is what I have observed, especially in our HR focus group on Wednesdays. There have been some people that have been down. They come to the meeting anyway. They don't feel like it, but they come anyway. And when they walk in the door, there's somebody in there that can feel their spirit. Usually that's me. And people, and people will respond. The people that are at these networking groups are exemplary people connectors. And when they leave, their spirits are totally lifted. Maybe somebody wants to take you to barbecue for lunch.
I have another idea that could help, right? I love what you just said. I got another idea.
Hey.
Check that out.
Check that
Look at
out.
that. Look at that. Like, that doesn't put a smile on your face.
Who is that? Mark? Is that Mark? Is that
like,
Mark?
that's Mark. Like, tell me, guys, that doesn't put look, that's got his name on it, Mark Elder, like Mark Elder bobblehead.
I don't have a bobblehead.
Look, I'm Mark. Look, Sal, look, you see that?
That's good. It's time for us to sign off.
Yeah, it is time. You're like, Mark's like, what are you doing, man?
I saw a comment on here, Fanny. Absolutely great comment.
What'd she say?
IT Happy Hour Geek Meet. Right? It's on meetup.com, Geek Meet, and she's very involved with those. Kyle Burt is as well.
Yeah.
Let me tell you guys, and this is straight from Events and Adventures, the commercial. I heard it on there, but look, when you're comfortable and relaxed, like that's when you're most attractive. It is, really. Right? And so if you're out and you're at a happy hour and you're, able to just kind of relax. It's not like a job fair. You're not just, but like you're able to just bring it down a few notches and relax. Right?
Are you insinuating rum ingestion?
Yeah, maybe. I'm not advocating drinking. I'm just saying, in an environment that's not your job seeker, your normal job seeker.
Well, you know what? I'm glad that you brought that up, Foster. Okay, no. Okay, we're all adults. Okay. We're all adults.
Okay.
This is a faith-based show, remember?
But no, it is. It is. But you may want to recognize if that's a good idea or not. It may be a horrible idea for you to pick up the bottle.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah.
It could be a horrible,
100%.
Horrible idea.
Be safe than sorry.
Right. But it could also. We're adults, and you know what? Be responsible, and if know
your limits.
Know your limits.
Know your limits.
Don't use it. Don't use it to cope with the problem. That's what I want to say. Yeah. Don't use it to cope with the problem, and don't just pick up the bottle, right? But you know what? You're an adult. You'll know what's right for you.
Right.
I can't tell someone don't have a drink. Anyway.
Again, I always err on the side of safe.
Be safe.
Yeah.
Call Uber.
But I do think that, you know what? Every once in a while, get out of the house and go like you were saying, to a happy hour, go to a football game, or go to something that's fun. Go do something fun. Go to a Cowboy game. Like, I know money's tight. I know you are, you're cutting back. But every once in a while, you have to live. You still got to live. You have to remind yourself that you're alive.
There was a comment there, don't isolate yourself.
Don't isolate yourself.
Yeah. Now, that is paramount. Do not isolate. Do not let the devil get you in the corner and cut you off from the rest of the world. Hey, don't. I knew you guys know that I was going to say that.
Totally, because that's what the enemy wants to do. He wants to get you all isolated by yourself, and he came here to lie, kill, and destroy. And when you are by yourself, he's going to feed you a whole bunch of garbage. Yeah. He's going to say, you're not worth anything. Why aren't you landing a job?
About you.
Nobody's hiring you because you're worthless and you're this and you're that. Like, the enemy's going to talk about. It's going to talk a bunch of garbage. Yeah. What you need to do is get around some people who can lift you back up.
Like Sal.
I'll tell you. I'll give you an example. There's a guy that and I'm not going to put his name out there, but every Frisco Connect, every single meeting, he comes up to me and he's like, I keep hearing people are telling me this and telling me that, negative things. And I look at him and I'm like, look, man, that is not true. Don't believe that. That's garbage. Mm-hmm. That's lies. Don't believe it. You're much more valuable than that, right?
And we are.
And it's relentless. But he comes to me because he needs to be filled. Right. He needs to be encouraged.
Right.
And I feel obligated. I'm like, I have to. I got to get this guy because he's having a rough time, And so, but if you're just at home all by yourself, man, that's going to start getting at you.
You don't get that support,
It's going to start getting. It's going to tear you down. So, guys, we would encourage you, if you are going through a bad time, give us a call, man. I mean, we're here.
I have been doing this for 15 years, guys. Call me, email me.
Yep.
Call me.
Yeah.
Comment on here. Christopher Taunts. He asked Joel, because Joel talked about the accountability groups. Where did you find the accountability groups? And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Foster, but they actually practice that and implement at South Lake Focus Group, don't they?
And Frisco Connect.
And Frisco Connect, for sure. Yeah. So,
and probably a handful of the other groups, too. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Get with people that you feel as though have an impact in your life, a positive impact in your life, and that they care. We live in a world now that feels like nobody cares. Everybody just wants to get our money. Oh, I don't have any money. You know what, guys? When you get out, the majority of the people that are at the networking events are very positive. You will find a lot of Christian folks there, and these people care. I'm one of them. I'm just always the dude that's talking.
Yeah. Foster definitely knows how to talk.
I know how to talk.
You got the gift of gab.
I know how to do that.
This is the job father, y'all. Y'all need to connect. Connect with Foster Williams.
You got the pot and the kettle.
I'm not old.
You got the pot and the kettle. Which one's the pot? Which one's the kettle?
Which one?
I don't know.
Trevor's like, hey, you like to talk.
Look, connect with Foster.
Can you believe Trevor said that?
Connect with me. Okay, connect with me on LinkedIn. Hello. And here's Mark Elder over here. We'll connect with him.
Connect with the bobblehead.
Right. And then, you know what? Go send a connection request to Sal.
Salvador Vergara.
Even his LinkedIn profile's got the jacket and the hair looking good. Everybody said you were Mr. Suave on LinkedIn. They were saying that. So, guys, let's do real quick.
Our show.
We want you to go ahead, hit that share button. There's a share button somewhere. Where is it? There?
Down.
Is it up?
Down.
Somewhere. Hit the share button wherever you're tuning in from. You may be tuning in on LinkedIn. You may be tuning in on Facebook or YouTube. Hit that share button. And
our Russian contingent. Share it with the rest of Russia, you guys.
Yeah.
We are global. I mean, technology is global. Even if you're on the moon, you might have a connection some sort of way.
Guys, we love you, and that's our show today. It's all about who you know. Bye.
Bye-bye now. Wow.
Okay, we're going to turn it off